Just a dog? Just a dog? Dog?
Alright, so we've talked about why they fucking hate Tekna. Let's talk about the most hated wings by the Rainbow, Roxy. She's not in the reboot yet. But look, I hate to be the bitch to tell anyone listening to this. If they do add Roxy, it'll be later, and I don't know if they'll ever make her proper wings. Maybe they will. They definitely didn't do it in the actual series because they were like the 7th wings, and then later on was like, fuck you. Like, here's the thing, everything from season 5 up was never going to, like, they were never going to make Roxy her wings in those, even in the seasons where she exists as a side character. I do wonder, well, okay, so this is a hypothetical, completely like unfounded at all, but I do wonder if Roxy would have been a wings even if they had continued on the trajectory that the first 4 seasons set. Because the thing is, the 4th season, like the finale, because I'd watched it recently, it's like, it's a very final finale. Like, the thing with the first 3 is that if they end, but there still feels like there's room for something to happen, which I guess technically is how stories go, and also like with these stories, that is also true because season 1 led into season 2, and season 2 into season 3, and then season 3's ending led into the movie, which I don't really like that much. I think it's Secret of the Lost Kingdom. I don't like any of the Wings movies. Hot take, I guess. It's not. I don't think most people actually like those movies. It's just nostalgia. And yes, it's nostalgic, but they're also not that good. The best 3D Wings has ever had is, ironically, the reboot. I have problems with the reboot, but for the most part, I actually quite like what they're doing with it. If we're going this direction, it's good. I've seen the screenshots. Aisha looks lovely. I'm so glad she has. Why am I talking about her in Roxy? Let's talk about Roxy. Now, Roxy's case is very different to Tekna's, where with Tekna, she was like so embedded within the Wings like identity, they couldn't get rid of her later on. Because Roxy wasn't that, and because she doesn't, agree or disagree, Roxy doesn't fit into the group of the Wings insofar that she wasn't designed alongside them, right? And because of that, she doesn't really like fit in as part of the unit. You could argue Aisha's much the same way, but the thing is, and I feel like this a lot when I watch season 1, when I actually do, you really do feel Aisha's absence, if not just physically in the world, in the writing, you do feel it aesthetically, I guess, because she does add like a balance, I'd say, to the Wings Club. Roxy kind of makes it an unbalance, and one of her biggest criticisms by fans, and I guess Rainbow as well, but Aiden, is that her hair color is too similar to Tekna's, but then simultaneously, she doesn't have a very distinct hairstyle. Like, she has that like slight blonde. You can see I tried to put the blonde in the drawing I'm under this, but it's not really a distinct hairstyle. Even the one I gave her, it's just long hair. And her color palette, I think, okay, so notice in this drawing, I'm going to start talking about the drawing more in these videos, because that's kind of why I put them under them. You can see that I've slightly changed, I don't know if you can see it at this point, because I'm recording this separate to drawing. You can see that like I slightly changed the color palette. I took away a lot of the pink. This is not because I don't like pink, but also I do it a lot because I haven't like done a blue drawing. But in her designs, I tend to try and take away a bit of the pink also. Not because I don't like pink. In fact, I really like pink. But not on these two characters specifically, which is really funny to me that it's these two. Because in Bloom's case, the pink just, I don't think, it works better on her than it does on Roxy, but not that much more. To the point where it's like, you might as well just go for like, I guess, deeper colors for Bloom, like more like darkish, almost like navy blue and black, or even grays. You didn't go like, for her casual way. And then Roxy, see, because she has her pink hair, it like, and it's a long pink hair, it like if you put pink in the design, at least to me, it kind of fades into the hair. That's kind of the problem with you having like colored hair and then wearing that same color clothes. But the thing is, I don't mind taking pink out of Roxy's design because I think it's kind of it's an interesting like joke, quote unquote, or reference to make if you make her colors more earthy, and she's from both. It's not that funny, but like it works. But yeah, that's why I try to put a bit more like brown and like orangey browns into her palette. Because the thing is, she's okay, fairy of animals, and I do think animals I associate more with like warmer tone like browns and oranges. I don't know if this is just a me thing. It's literally just vibes. I'm looking at my cat now, and it's like yes, the like patches of like slight orange on her. But yeah, I that's just my association with animals, and also it's similar to her dog Arthur. Is that his name? Because they call him Arthur in World of Wings. That is not his name. But is his name R2? Like the letter R2? I've never gotten this. But yeah, I decided to like her more browns, because the thing is with the brown and the green, okay. So the other problem with Roxy is that she wears a lot of green, and that tends to be assigned to, or like this very light green, which is assigned usually to either Aisha and in some cases Flora, but not really. It's different in the transformations. I think that's like a slightly different issue entirely. I have done a Roxy one, but like I don't think I'll put it in this video. It's another time lapse. Maybe I'll do it with like a bunch of other transformations, because I do want to talk about their transformations. But with surrounding the green part of our outfit with brown, it pulls the design more on like I guess yellowish, on the yellowish side of like a color wheel. To me, I am not a professional. This is just me fucking around, and like she has like more warmer tones than Aisha. Like Aisha does have like slightly warmer greens, but it airs more towards like seafoam green, which is a bit cooler. So I think you can have Roxy's design as is, and then like you can't separate it from the rest of it. It's just like I feel like they shot themselves in the foot by the way they designed her. I do like her in darker greens though, like the pants I gave her. I do like a darker green on Roxy. I just like dark green. And that's kind of my reasoning for the color palette I chose for her. I really like Roxy as a character, and like Rainbow tends to hate her. I think, okay, for there's a couple reasons here actually. I should have gotten to this earlier. For one thing, she's younger than all of the wings. And like, I don't think that's the reason why Rainbow specifically hates her. Oh my god, do you think it lends to the problems Roxy has fitting into the club? She feels separate. Unlike Aisha, who was like around the same age with the same power set and like grew up with him, Roxy, look, we don't know what her transformation is called. I'm just calling it's a base form, but they changed the wings to make her fit in more with like the doll line or like just aesthetically or something. But like, it's a base form. She physically starts off on a different level. For me, and now we're getting to the thing I actually want to talk about, how I would rewrite Roxy's story. I actually have like a whole idea for like a season, but it's a wings season technically, but it is not focused around the 6 wings. It's like the Neo wings with Roxy as like the main character in like sort of continuing the cycle of like Roxy being the main character in Althea, and then the rest of them can like fuck off. They can like do other things. And okay, this always annoyed me with season 5, but this still annoys me, and they're doing it again in the reboot, and I get in the reboot it's more excusable, but like, oh my god, can they grow up out of school? It's kind of annoying. Oh, okay, the reboot again has a lot more excuse for that because it's a reboot, they're starting over. And I actually don't think they're gonna grow the wings up the same way they did in the original cartoon, which is fine. I do think there's like a place for the type of cartoon they're trying to make. Like, as much as I dislike it, I do realize that's like a little bit of I am not exactly the target audience right now. I barely was back then. But like, personally, what I think they should have done with Roxy is like continue the Wings Club with her as the main character, introduce new characters, and then like separate the Wings. And they can still come in and make appearances as like supporting cast. Kind of the same way that like, I guess Faragonda does. Or even less than that, honestly, because Faragonda's like always there, ever present. And I think it'd be interesting because like, she is a like Broom's protege in like sort of like a surrogate sister which is adorable, by the way. I really wish they played with that more. I really wish he had more of the interactions with the other wings, but that's something I would do. You know, if I were like this fantasy like show I'm thinking of. I guess it's just fanfic, isn't it? This like fanfic in my head where it's like, oh. And the thing is, what I would do is in like it will be season 5, so I guess like but like a Roxy season 1, so like a Wings side project season 1, like a sideshow. And what I do, look, I know season 5 has interesting concepts. Listen, I know it does. I don't like them. Okay, it's not that I don't like them. I find the ocean a little bit boring. It's pretty, but a lot of what happens in season 5, it's like no, not what happens. The concept, like Titanus is like, okay, fine. Like, honestly, if they went full hardcore, like, misogynistic villain, they would actually be kind of sick. But they didn't go full on that. They just kind of made him evil. Also, they made the mermaids a patriarchy, which was like, it's like you had interesting world building, and then you just took it away. Why would you do this? But no, I would actually use season 6 as a basis. Because so season 6, look, it's not a good season. And I am under no delusions that it is a good season. It's terrible. However, I like its concept. I like fairy tales. I look at my shelf, my bookshelf now. I'm like, there's Aesop's fairy tales, and then Peter Pan, and then Grimm's fairy tales, English fairy tales, Andersen's fairy tales. I love fairy tales. I think the Legendarium is an interesting idea. I don't know if any of you have watched. You probably have if you're watching this, which is kind of funny if you're watching this. Hi, subscribe. But if you've watched Unicorn of War's rewrites of season 5 and 6, there's something that they do in season 6 specifically. I like it, but I would go a different direction. Actually, there's two things they do there. I do a different direction, but like because I'm adapting season 6 for like Roxy season 1, I would completely change it. Instead of having because they have the Legendarium, like have it like contain stories of the magical universe. I would do the reverse and have it contain stories of Earth, like mythical stories of Earth, like the fairy tales I just mentioned. Like have it like that, but again, I think lore-wise it's a little bit different. It would still be locked to like in the beginning of the season. No, yeah, it depends how much time you want to have go past between season 4 and 5. Because technically you could actually fit World of Wings in there quite comfortably if you would like do a few changes. Like in my mind, I would like to have a little bit of time between Magic coming back to Earth and then Roxy going to Althea. If not only just for like enough time to exist within them to like set up more villains from Earth, like people who got magic from Earth and became bad or good. Like just to have more people around. Just she's the first. She has seen everything. Did that reference. Funny that you're watching this. But yeah, the other thing. Yeah, so have the Legendarium be... It's still a link. I like the idea of it being a link to the imaginary world, but like, they don't play with this at all because they speak on the imaginary world as it feels like it exists within the Legendarium, within the lore of the original series. And what I'd actually wanted to do, and Unicorn of War does this again, I really like their concepts. The thing is, I just have different ideas for the Legendarium because they use the magical universe as a basis. I think I use the normal fairy tales, but it's another universe or another world. The thing is, the fictional stories can exist within its own world, and the book is the connection between the two. And he who holds the book can summon like echoes of the past, but they aren't like the real versions of those fairy tales, these fairy tales are all quote unquote real. Think like Once Upon a Time, it's just a different universe, like it's the Enchanted Forest. If you understand what I'm talking about, if you know all these references, it's like, wow, you understand what's inside my head. If you don't, I don't know, I'm sorry. I'm doing this the best I can, But it's like, have it so that it's a separate world, but the stories like recorded in the Legendarium are Earth stories. I think that, because then say and Zelina still exists, but I changed her a little bit, and she could summon story characters, like summon Snow White, for instance. Also, a lot of these are not the Disney versions, because Once Upon a Time I would actually want to go the direction of well, the thing is, Disney does not own Rainbow. It's kind of the whole point of that drama. But I would like to do a thing of like where you actually do interpretations of the original tales, because those are quite dark. One of my favorites is it Snow White? It is Snow White, where the evil queen is made to dance in red hot shoes until she dies. At the wedding, fun stuff. But yeah, that's what I do with the Legendarium, is have it so that it contains the original fictional stories, original quote unquote fictional stories of the Earth, and it's connected intrinsically to Earth back when Earth had magic. But then when Earth had no magic, it just became a storybook. And then the Zelina character would be the main antagonist for the series, would get the book. But the thing is, because magic has returned to Earth, and the thing is, because Earth initially had magic, there are still stories of magic. You might see where I'm going with this. Where she gets the book, and that's kind of like a conduit for power. Or like, she could be a fairy, but like she could still be like a really weak fairy. But she's able to connect to... Look, there's a lot of lore. I've thought through this in my free time, which is kind of weird. This is what I think about between like... I'm writing my thesis this year. What the fuck? I'm just like, yes. My Winx Club lore for this thing that's not gonna happen, that no one's gonna watch or read. It's like kind of funny that I'm thinking about this. But like, I imagine that she would like steal the Legendarium and then like summon these echoes of the past, but eventually, or these echoes of stories, but then at some point, either in the first or season of this, or like later on in this season of show that does not exist, they find out that the Legendarium it's not just summoning echoes of stories, it's summoning echoes of like real people and characters. So you could access the realm of stories. You could the Enchanted Forest equivalent. You could access it. It's just very difficult. Kind of the same way Once Upon a Time does it actually, except that Once Upon a Time fucks itself over in later seasons, because technically it is difficult to cross realms in that show. Technically, it's really not. They do it a lot. But like, it's technically difficult, and I think it should be difficult to get into that realm of story because it's so separated from the magical universe, but it's intrinsically linked to Earth. But because Earth lost its magic, because the Earth was the link between the world of stories and then the world of the magical universe, they lost magic, so therefore the magical universe lost its connection to the realm of stories. Do you see this? So it's like, I think the Legendarium has so much potential, but they really fucked it over. They really squandered this thing. I really like the Legendarium, and it's not useful at all. And then with Zelina, so what I changed, is her name Selena or Zelina? There's a Zelina, I think it's a Zelina in Once Upon a Time. I don't know which one's Zelina and Selena. Anyway, a coincidence. She could still be a childhood friend of Bloom, but I wouldn't want it to be like the best friend. I do like, I'm not stealing this idea from Unicorn of War, but like, I think everyone and their mother who like watched, not their mother, but like everyone who watched season 6 kind of got like lesbian vibes from Zelina, and I definitely see that. And I think a really good story to tell with her. And look, this is just fantasy. This is literally just me living in a fantasy, so I can just write whatever I want or like say whatever I want. Honestly, explore that story in a way that like honors this feeling I guess queer people have or gay people have when they fall for someone. Because here's the thing, everyone gets rejected. Well, most people. Some people don't, which, wild. But like, it's a very, I guess, crushing feeling, because it's not just being rejected, it's just being completely like, I could never be interested kind of thing. It's like, it's a very dramatic, if you've ever like, I've made reference to so many shows, why not now? Wicked. The song I'm Not That Girl, it's not inherently about queer people, but that's kind of a really good song to use as a reference for that. It's a very like emotional song. For me specifically, like I can't listen to that song like at any point in time, because like depending on how I'm feeling, I could just start crying. But it's a really good song, and it's kind of a good basis what I'm thinking of for Zelina. But like, instead of, like what I and many other people have had to do is just like kind of get over it and sort of like reconcile with what you felt and what's happened, Zelina sort of like retreats into sort of seclusion, and then the Legendarium is kind of intoxicating to her because she can summon anything she wants. And even though everything is an echo in the Legendarium, there are certain spells you could use to make things feel more tangible. And what I do, because Bloom was a legendary character in like in season 4, she is part of the Legendarium as a savior who brought magic, or one of the saviors who brought magic back to Earth. She could like, her goal for like maybe and up until the the mid-season finale is like to summon a version of Bloom that loves her, which is fucking tragic, but also it kind of signifies her complete fall to, I guess, delusion, and where like it's not that she's no longer she's no longer like beyond saving. She's just like fallen so far and her hour is so deep that like it's kind of a case of we just have to take her down. And I think in the finale, I don't know how I'd rationalize this, because I just said the Legendarium is like a book of Earth fictionals. I guess Earth has its own transformations. When actually, yeah, no, this works. Because I was gonna say like Zelina can just force herself into Believix using the Legendarium, because it is a legendary form that she can then use on herself that like corrodes her. Because this is the words I think she'd say, where it's like, I've gone through so much, I've earned this, I deserve what this book has given me. Like, it's a feeling I've known, where it's like sometimes you just want to take what you want, but it doesn't work. Like, it's never the answer. And now I'm going to end this here because I don't know what this video was. I'm sorry, I guess, if you had to listen through this, because this is actually I really want to see this story play out. I'm never gonna see it. I can live in delusion, the same as Zelina.